Well, I'm sure. All right. Now, so we've done the offense was too great, repeated offense. This one's a big bag. This one's big because this is a big one. Number 3, reasons that people have trouble forgiving is they're struggling with the memories of the offense. Matthew 18:21 and 22. I'm going to admit to you how I misinterpreted this first, and then what I learned. You can learn through how people are a little confused. Matthew 18:21 and 22. Big offense. You would think, well, why didn't you use that for the big offense? Let me tell you, this is bigger. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked the Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Important point, brother. Nobody hurts you better than someone that knows you. Brother means relative, related, relational intimacy. No one hurts you better than a brother, sister, sibling, family, co-worker, trusted Christian friend. They're the best to hurt you. Watch. But Jesus made provision. He says, how many times do I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Should I forgive him up to 7 times? That's that wonderful Hebrew word, 7. Everybody loves 7. There's 7 so many times in the Old Testament. It's like, okay, do we not have another number? But it says up to 7. Jesus answers, he says, I tell you not 7 times, but 70 times 7. Well, as a young believer, when I read that, I'm a literalist, and I went, wow, I only have to forgive a person 490 times? Man, my dad's about at 465. You know, I'm thinking about that. Well, I'm talking to a Christian counselor one time, and I'm going to admit this, I'm saying this. I literally visualize that people have these digital units on their head, and they're blinking at what level their number is. Like, I only have to forgive him one more time, and he's out. Don't talk to him again. It's off my list. Don't have to forgive him. Don't even have to be in the same church with him. Okay, so I was talking to this Christian counselor, and I went to say, oh boy, my dad's about over his quota. And my counselor went, your dad's over his quota? What are you talking about? I go, you know, I only have to forgive 490 times, and then he's out of the game. Don't have to, I'm not obligated anymore. And thank God she was objective and calm and didn't go, wah, and start laughing her head off. She looked at me and she's kind of like, Jackie, that's not quite what that passage meant. I'm like, it's not? It says, how many times do I, you know, say I'm that thing. What does it say? So she had to wait a minute, take a breath. She looked at me and says, Jackie, sometimes things that happen to people are so horrible and so big, so shocking, that they have to forgive the same offense again and again and again. When a young girl saves herself and goes off to college and gets raped her first semester in college when she's been saving herself for God's best and she gets raped, she's got a little stuff to deal with. When your best friend runs off with your husband when you're pregnant, you got a big bag there. You got a big hurt. But what the Lord has taught me is when the memory comes again, you get to forgive again. Father, right now in Jesus' name, I forgive her. Father, right now in Jesus' name, I forgive him. And the memory does not mean I haven't forgiven him before. The memory is just reflects the magnitude of the offense. And I learned through a doctor a wonderful thing, that our brains were designed by God to desire balance. I'm almost afraid to say that because you're all going, oh, Jackie, your brain. But anyways, it desires balance. Well, I learned this, that on the right side of your brain is stored hurt, painful memories, trauma. When you've been traumatized, it goes to the right side. And the brain is constantly throwing up flashbacks, memories, daydreaming, dreams at night, because it's trying to get homeostasis. It's trying to get back to balance. And we need to remember so we can forgive freely. I remember a group of women laid hands on me to pray that I would forgive my father freely. And I really believe God did it that day. And then a week later, I'm at Kmart and Blue Light Special, and I'm standing there with my kids, and all of a sudden a memory just washed over me about my father, and I'm like, oh, it didn't work! Their prayers didn't take! They didn't pray deep enough, there was no faith involved! And what I learned through this verse is I get to stand there and go, yes, I have forgiven him, and right now at Kmart I forgive him again. Okay, but I do that by faith, not because I feel like it. I have to say one thing about my bag. At the table in the back tonight, I have free CDs, but you have to ask for them. And it's a CD of me being interviewed as a victim of sexual abuse and how God walked me from victimization to victory and hope in Jesus Christ. So we give these away free, and that's part of my memory reality. But I'm free, and I have to tell those of you who out there who have some terrible things to forgive, I have never gotten to 490. Because you know why? The enemy can't come after you when you're a good forgiver. He can only torture you when you're not a good forgiver. Not that anybody in this group. Listen to what Martin Luther King said. I read this. Dr. Martin Luther King wrote this. He said, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he wrote this when he was in jail in Birmingham, and trust me, could comprehend this statement. Listen to this. I had to fast for several days in order to achieve the spiritual discipline necessary to forgive my enemies. And sometimes there are people in our life, we got to fast in relation to forgive freely as much as pray. But I'm going to teach you something later. It's going to help so much. It's so great. But you have to wait till the end. So Martin Luther King, you know why he's a great leader? Because he's a great forgiver. All right, like our Jesus. You're most like Jesus not when you're perfect, and it says it in your outline. You are most like Jesus when you are forgiving. So many people think perfection has to do with making you like Christ. Forgiveness, when you are forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it. Wow, is she like Jesus? Okay, now the fourth reason that people